In the multi-million-dollar video game industry, where each new release is accompanied by promises of innovation and entertainment, not all projects achieve the desired success. Sometimes, what should have been a milestone turns into a sea of challenges, leaving developers and players alike perplexed by the final outcome. With this in mind, I've compiled a list of 12 games that were marked by million-dollar losses and considered true failures in the world of gaming. To start our list, let's take a look at Marvel's Avengers, developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix in 2020, had all the makings of an instant success. With an estimated budget between $170 to $190 million, the game combined Marvel's popular superheroes with dynamic gaming action. However, its release was met with mixed reception, with critics pointing out generic gameplay, repetitive content, and persistent technical bugs. Additionally, the monetization model based on microtransactions and additional content failed to attract players significantly. Square Enix acknowledged that initial sales fell below expectations, resulting in a financial review reflecting substantial losses for the game. Cyberpunk 2077, developed by CD Projekt Red, stands out as perhaps the most recent and resounding case of a troubled launch. With an estimated budget exceeding $313 million, the game was hyped with astronomical expectations fueled by cinematic trailers and promises of unprecedented immersion. However, it hit the market with significant technical issues, especially on last-generation consoles. Players encountered numerous bugs and glitches that made the gaming experience frustrating and often unplayable. The backlash was so severe that Sony removed the game from its online store, and CD Projekt Red faced a wave of refunds and lawsuits. Estimated losses reached around $51 million, not including the damage to the company's reputation and player trust. Turning back 2 decades, we find Daikatana, a project led by John Romero, co-creator of Doom. The game promised to redefine the first-person shooter genre, but suffered from a series of delays and development issues. With a budget of approximately $44 million, Daikatana was released in 2000 and received harsh criticism due to dated graphics, inconsistent gameplay, and frustrating artificial intelligence. The hype surrounding Romero's name ultimately worked against the project, turning the game into a symbol of unfulfilled promise. Daikatana's failure dealt a significant blow to Ion Storm, the developer, resulting in substantial financial losses from which the company never fully recovered. Too Human, developed by Silicon Knights, is another classic example of how prolonged and contentious production can lead to disastrous results. First announced in 1999 and released only in 2008, the game underwent a series of development changes, including a platform shift and a turbulent legal battle against Epic Games over issues related to the use of the Unreal Engine. With an estimated development cost of $60 million, Too Human was criticized for its repetitive gameplay, confusing controls, and a story that failed to captivate. Sales were weak, generating around $2 million, resulting in an estimated loss of $58 million. Silicon Knights never recovered from the impact, eventually closing its doors in 2014. Aliens, Colonial Marines, developed by Gearbox Software and released in 2013, promised to be a triumphant return to the iconic universe of the Aliens films. With an estimated budget of $60 million, expectations were high. However, the game was released with a series of technical problems, graphics that were inferior to those shown in trailers, and poor artificial intelligence, leading to an extremely negative critical reception. The game's distributor, Sega, faced a lawsuit for misleading advertising. The commercial failure and poor reception resulted in an estimated loss of around $20 million, negatively affecting Gearbox Software's reputation. Shenmue, released by Sega in 1999, was an incredibly ambitious project aimed at redefining open-world games. With an unprecedented budget of $70 million, the game was a technical and narrative milestone. However, despite positive reviews, sales were not enough to cover the massive development costs. Shenmue became a cult classic, but its commercial failure was a harsh blow to Sega, resulting in significant losses, and contributing to the company's decision to exit the console hardware market. APB, All Points Bulletin, developed by Real-Time Worlds and released in 2010, was an ambitious MMO that promised an innovative experience of combat between police and criminals in an open world. With an estimated budget of $100 million, the game failed to attract a sufficient player base to sustain itself. Just 2 months after its release, the servers were shut down and Real-Time Worlds went bankrupt, resulting in devastating losses. The game was later revived by another company, but the damage was already done. Lawbreakers, developed by Boss Key Productions and released in 2017, was an attempt by Cliff Bleszinski, creator of Gears of War, to create a new hit in the first-person shooter genre. With a budget of approximately $40 million, the game failed to stand out in the saturated shooter market. Reviews were mixed, and the lack of a consistent player base led to the servers being shut down less than a year after launch. Lawbreakers' failure resulted in an estimated loss of $32 million and contributed to the closure of Boss Key Productions. Radical Heights, also developed by Boss Key Productions and released in 2018, was a late attempt to capitalize on the Battle Royale craze. With rushed development and a modest budget compared to previous projects, the game failed to capture public attention. Despite some interesting ideas, such as an 80s-inspired setting, Radical Heights was criticized for technical issues and a general lack of polish. Lack of community support led to the servers being shut down just a few months after launch, resulting in an estimated loss of $9 million and marking another failure for Boss Key Productions. The Order, 1886, developed by Ready at Dawn and released in 2015, promised to be a heavyweight exclusive for the PlayStation 4, with impressive graphics and an engaging story set in an alternative 19th century London. With an estimated budget of $100 million, the game received mixed reviews due to its short length, linear gameplay, and lack of content to justify its high launch price. Despite initial decent sales, The Order, 1886 failed to meet Sony's expectations, resulting in substantial losses and contributing to a period of reevaluation in the PlayStation's exclusive game development strategy. Battleborn, developed by Gearbox Software and released in 2016, was another attempt to capitalize on a competitive market, this time in the hero shooter genre. With an estimated budget of $60 million, the game was launched near Blizzard's acclaimed Overwatch. Despite attempts to differentiate itself with a greater focus on campaign and unique characters, Battleborn failed to attract a sufficient player base to compete with its competitors' overwhelming success. Lack of ongoing developer support led to the game's rapid decline, resulting in an estimated loss of $38 million and tarnishing Gearbox Software's reputation. Anthem, developed by BioWare and released in 2019, was an ambitious promise of an online multiplayer action game set in a vast science fiction world. With an estimated budget of around $100 million, the game was announced with high expectations, promising a dynamic and engaging experience. However, its launch was marred by significant performance issues, frequent bugs, and a lack of endgame content that left players dissatisfied. Criticism was harsh, highlighting design problems and a narrative that failed to captivate. BioWare made efforts to address the issues, but Anthem's reputation was already damaged. The game failed to maintain a solid player base and did not achieve expected revenue targets, resulting in substantial losses for Electronic Arts. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more videos, and see you tomorrow.